Listen, data and APIs, anyone can build whatever workflows they want. But when you get it down to that, call it that fundamental unit of technology DNA, that's what gives you all sorts of options.
This is the Insurance Technology Podcast, where we bring interesting people from across the insurance ecosystem to discuss and debate technology's impact on the industry. Join us each episode for insights and best practices from industry stewards and tomorrow's innovators. Now, here's your host, Reid Holsworth.
All right, so you guys, look, here's the thing for the listeners. Ask Kodiak, rocket ship story, you guys connected really the industry in so many ways. You changed the game in appetite. Really, I mean, you could say that, we've done some of that in Ivans, but you guys just crushed it. And what you really did is you connected all of these Insurtechs. So most of the Insurtechs that are out there are using your services. Let's be real, right? And so you've done some really, really awesome things. So you know these guys, they're all your friends and family. What do you see being really influential to our market in this year and next? Like what is really going to make moves in the industry, in your opinion? And you can name names or you don't have to, whatever, do whatever you want to do. But what kinds of things are going to move the industry in a good way?
People. So technology is always, the backstory, but you got folks out there. I mean, you mentioned Insurtech, and I'll bring up Raghav and the Tarmika team, just because we were hanging out with them the other day. They're top of mind for me. This is not exclusive to them, but they're thinking of some really cool ways to help agents, on the small commercial side, and not just thinking of, but making it happen. What's great is they're serving a little niche, and then there's other guys elsewhere doing similar things for a different niche or a different part of the insurance world. Insurance is big and it's complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of ways to do things. And we're not moving towards a scenario where there's like one way of doing insurance. It's going to be what it's always been. It's going to be what it's always been, but it's going to be much more technologically enabled. And folks like that are finding some great ways to do it. So technology that enables folks to build brand new businesses, ways of doing things to be successful in and of themselves is the transformative thing. Technology that can be plugged in, reassembled, stacked in different ways to support these different business ideas, concepts, workflows, whatever you want to call it. That to me is the transformative thing. Like the connection itself, the APIs, data, the ability to sort of roll your own Insurtech is going to be huge. It already is.
Yeah. I mean, listen, data and APIs, anyone can build whatever workflows they want. But when you get it down to that, call it that fundamental unit of technology DNA, that's what gives you all sorts of options. And that's what, we weren't an app company. I mean, Mike designs incredible looking apps, but like the DNA of Ask Kodiak was this API service, because and I mean like a real, like Google Ask Kodiak, go on the web, ask for API keys and go off and do it versus, some of the other thing, if you're not using someone's API in less than 5 minutes, I'd argue, you're maybe dealing with something that's a little bit more antiquated than a modern API. Like I look at just anything else I use outside of insurance as an engineer or as a consumer, like there are just all these ideas out there where you look at them and it's like, I mean, why can't we do that in insurance? Like banking has compliance and regulation but there's patterns there to adopt and to try to get those things to work. And if you make it freaking easy, people will build on your stuff. It's not about making your stuff free. I know and there's freemium tiers for different consumer products. That's an interesting idea, but I mean, it's gotta be like easy. And I mean, really easy. And then if it's easy, does it bring value? And if you hit those two things, that's how you start chaining different companies together. And it's like, all of a sudden you've got like, you know, a new insurance ecosystem from like 2, 3, 4, 5 ideas all sort of working together in a chain of value. And that's what we've always sort of looked at. Like, you know, we used to get the we still get them occasionally, but you'd get the random email like, hey, I built this agent finder app and I used your API. And the guy would send us screenshots. And it's sort of like, I'd look over at Mike and be like, did you see this? Did you see what this guy did? Like, this is like it, and it's cool. Like, it's like, you had no idea, like, you know, people are using it and you know, it's coming from agencies. But for me, the biggest kick was always like the number of agencies that would actually like build stuff with these guys want to be involved in the technology conversation. That's all I know about agents. Want to be involved.
To that exact point, you know, in the olden days, our early days in insurance technology, folks would ask us, oh, you know, what is so-and-so doing on the app? Or what is so-and-so doing with the platform? This isn't at this business, it's the last one. You'd know the answer in detail because it was this professional services project that went on for this business. People would say to us, hey, what's so-and-so doing? They're making a ton of API calls. And we'd look at each other and go, I have no idea. They just did it themselves. And that's the change. That's the change. It doesn't require an army of people on calls all day long, you know, slogging through this roadmap that never comes to fruition. It's like, hey, man, you want to make something happen? Here's the tools. Go. Stop talking. Start working. Yeah. And people were doing it. It's very cool.
It is very, very cool. I experienced the same thing at TC. Like, literally, I've told this story before, but when I met Ilya, Hackbarth introduced me to Ilya. We go over there, and I'm like, I don't know what this penguin thing is or anything. I show up, and they're like, oh, yeah, hey. I meet their CTO. Hey, we love tech in area. I'm like, oh, really? You, like, know it? And they're like, yeah, oh, yeah, we're integrated to it. We got all our customers. I'm like, what? Nice. You know? And then, like, literally, while I'm there, like, one of our tech canary customers is there, like, with them. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, what? And that's the kind of stuff you're talking about. Like, we have no idea. You know? I mean, and that's cool, right?
Yeah,
that's exponential growth. That's exponential enablement. That's not like user signups. That is like, you know, network exponential growth of your platform.
Yeah,
it's cool.
That's the future, right? I mean, maybe the future is now, but that's the future of our industry.
Yeah,
you know, it really is, and it's building those platforms for people to be able to connect to and to build all these products around them. You know?
I mean, and I think we're seeing more of it. Like Hazard Hub was another company. You know, they just got acquired by Guidewire. I mean, that API was their bread and butter, and you know, and to be able to serve up data like quickly, like everything. You know, the term real time, even like everything's got to be on demand real time. There's no like, you know, you use Uber Eats, like, you know, you expect it to be real time, not like, you know, get a download later that your order was, you know, like back to your system. That, you know, it's got to be like boom, and that's just sort of the expectation.
Let's flip it. What's not going to work? What's out there that people are maybe talking about that's just not going to work? We'll just say now, right? Just a bunch of noise. Anything top of mind there?
Well, I mean, the easy answer is anybody that's still saying something about cutting agents out. That's the easy answer. You know, anybody say, oh, we got this thing that's going to make agents go away. Because, I mean, you're dealing with complex financial products, especially on the commercial line side. It's like, even as a business owner myself, I'm cool using an agent because I don't want to screw this up. I want to make sure we got all the coverage we need. And I don't understand the idiosyncratic details of all these various policy clauses, half of which could leave me hanging if I do this wrong. I think those kinds of models, although they've definitely scaled back, always raise the alarm for me. It just is usually somebody that doesn't really understand the business.
That's a really good qualification kind of question. Not even question, but you hear that you're right. Like just kind of scanning through, you know, the people I've talked to recently, and they say that, and you're like, you don't know this industry.
Right.
Like they're not saying that because they make that comment. Like when you actually dive into it, you're like, what?
Yeah. Go back to fundraising for a lot of these companies. The first round is we don't need agents. The second round is, hey, we changed our mind. We need to, now we're building stuff for the distribution and the agents. I mean,
I know where you're going.
I know it sounds absurd, but it really is. It's the first round. There's a model, and maybe it's intentional, but the first round is we're cutting out the middleman. Second round, wait a second, we got stuff for the middleman now. Like that's the pattern, and you've seen it like over and over again. And I think again, that was probably a lesson coming out of AgencyPort. Like it just wasn't. Yeah, that was never like on our radar that was even going to be a. There was even a path there.
Oh yeah, right. In other words, for us, it's always been about agent carrier connectivity.
Yeah,
as lame as that is, doesn't get you very far in social situations, but it's another topic.
So tell the listeners, what are you guys working on now? What's the big project that you guys are working on right now?
So look, the big thing that we're, on a meta macro level, it's right now it's full steam ahead integration with Ivans, business and technology. And so what's going to start happening is technology, and not necessarily to the visible eye when you see Ivans products and services and applied products and services. Ask Kodiak features are going to start appearing. And it's going to be, the content might look different or richer or more in volume, but that's the first place it's going to start happening. For us, like whenever, Mike and I have, gone through, these type of acquisition events before, it is like mission critical to show the market like immediately that there is, impact and rhyme and reason to why two companies came together. And so there's like the technical side, which I just sort of described. And then there is, call it, business side, even marketing side. As we're doing this, I'm tweeting on the Ivans Twitter account right now because we are Ask Kodiak is hosting it. And I think like all of these things matter in terms of like showing the market, like we're now combining our assets, technical capital, people capital, and going in a new direction. So I don't know how Mike, if had you, again, he may answer it completely differently.
No,
in a better way.
Here's what we're doing. We're working together, and we're working with Reid, and that's what's cool for us personally is to be a part of this team. We're excited about this. We're part of the journey here. We're part of now the leadership on Reid's team, and fired up to be building something together. So we've spent the last 6 years working away on our business together, and now we got this new team. Like it's like an adopted family, really, and we're getting some technology stuff out of the way, but then figuring out what our plans are, and it's really exciting.
So let's talk about it for a second. And take me out of it. We've been friends for a long time. Like, let's be real. So how has it been for the listeners, Ivans and whatnot? By the way, for the record, totally unscripted, and I don't care what you say. So like, how has it been? And so, and for the record too, keep in mind, we have daily stand-ups every single day. Our leadership team at Ivans meets every single day for a daily stand-up. Then we have weekly leadership meetings, all of it. How's the crew been? How are you feeling about everything? Now that you're in and you're really seeing it, what are your thoughts? Honestly.
I've been surprised on a number of levels. And you could Venmo me at Reid after we're done, whatever I'm about to say. I'm just kidding. When we were talking early on, I was sort of like surprised, like, wow, this is really a distributed company. Like, and I don't know what my expectation, not just, because of COVID, it's like distributed in a good way. I mean, you got Canadians down to Tampa, Florida, and, everywhere there between. And so you could tell if there's good team chemistry, if that can work remotely, because remote stuff is hard. Video is hard. Video is exhausting. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. Like video is exhausting. And I remember saying to Mike, like early on, when we left, your house in Milwaukee, when we were having secret discussions and trying to avoid Chip Bacchiacco and, Milwaukee asking us what the hell we were doing there, and didn't like call him for coffee. I remember saying to Mike in the car, I was like, that's like, the product managers, I think we can work with those guys. Like, I said that they listen, they were sort of like curious about what we're doing and sharing, it wasn't like, sort of like, just sort of like a one-way conversation. And that was like something I was looking for sort of early on. I don't care like necessarily who's right as long as somebody in the room is right, so to speak. When it comes to like making decisions and like where you're going to go, just one of us has to be right. It doesn't matter who the hell it is. And I think that's why Mike and I work so well together, because he's right 90% of the time, and I only have to be right like 10% of the time. But now it's like sort of, it's expanded. And I that part of it has been good for me, because there's just a lot of things I don't have to sort of like necessarily worry about anymore. Because as you scale, like you can't keep doing everything. I mean, you just can't. I mean, no one wants to.
And we talked a little bit about that. It's an interesting, through this transition, we've talked a little bit about that. Like, it's an interesting day when you're like, oh, wait a second, I don't have to do payroll or finance. Or like, there's other kind of stuff that whatever it may be that you've been doing, just wear a lot of hats.
Did I file this Massachusetts unemployment tax correctly? It's like, seriously, it's like stuff like that. I think, we're also trying to make sure we fit in. Like we've got like, so people sort of get to know us a little bit, and not like, I'm sure everyone thinks Mike and I agree on everything. That's absolutely not true. We actually debate a lot of things, but we know how to do it. And trying also to pick our spots, on things where we could share experiences that make sense, without coming in. No one wants co-founders coming in guns a-blazing. It's like, you got to be, we have a responsibility to learn the team as much as, they do to learn us. So
I was telling somebody the other day, I feel like I'm on a listening tour right now. So big company. I mean, right or wrong, this is a big company, Ivans and Applied. And there's a lot of moving parts. And there's a lot of people with great ideas. And to Allan's point, you don't want to come in, bull in a china shop. Hey, here's the way we're going to do it. But that's not going to get you anywhere. So a lot of listening right now from our side. I'm fired up about the team. I mean, Reid, we've known each other for a long time, but you're not a long time Ivans CEO. This is a fresh team, and this is like fresh energy and fresh people. And this is not like these stand-up meetings you were talking about. It's not like we're hemming and hawing about, some of these more antiquated, I'll call them classic connectivity kind of conversations you might expect the Ivans team to be talking about. We're talking about really interesting stuff, and it's invigorating, and it's cool because it's like I said, a fresh team, fresh energy, and it's not optically what I think a lot of people think it is from the outside when you're looking at, one of the more entrenched companies, because of how many new people are here because of acquisitions. Like this is a really new old company.
Yeah. And let's be honest, the team is like super excited to be working with other people besides us, Mike and Allan, like the Ask Kodiak team. Totally. There's no question about it.
They're sick of us.
It's like, they're so like relieved to like, hang out with other human beings this week, and that, in the Connecticut office other than us. So, they essentially said as much on our team call this morning. So, which is good. That's the way it should be. What about us? How about, let's throw it back on you, Reid. We're taking over your podcast. What about us? Like coming in, like what were you surprised?
So like, honestly, I've been, I think, and I'll speak for the rest of the team too, because we've talked about it. I think it's been great. I think your energy and just you guys coming and being added to the team has been really good. I've been pleasantly surprised overall with how well you guys have just kind of gelled with the team. We always knew that would work because we're all very like-minded, but you never know. I mean, everybody's a little bit different, but I think there's a certain types that wouldn't work well that we all know that would just not work in our environment, I think. Because we like to have fun and we like to keep it light, but we're really serious and really hardcore about certain things or a lot of things. But you know what I mean? But we're all having fun and it's like a dysfunctional family sometimes, right? And you guys have fit right into it. And I mean, I think that everybody is just really excited about bringing in what you guys have built into our ecosystem. So we all know we're all hell bent after that right now, but really more so excited about what the future brings, especially when you're in the innovation lab seat, which is coming, because that really allows us to really focus on some really cool innovation for the industry, leveraging all the tools and resources, tech, if you will, that we already have. And that's exciting. And so I'm excited that you guys are having a good time. It's clear, and everybody sees it, and you've kind of fallen in, and I can see why you'd be pleasantly surprised as well, because you don't know, it is an old company. It's a big company. But I would feel that our culture is not quote unquote corporate, right? I think that's fair to say, like what that cliche example is of corporate. And you're right. We're distributed. We're all over the place, this country and into Canada. And we work real well together in a virtual environment. And we have for a long time. So yeah, it's good. It's good. I know that was super long-winded, but
no, listen, if you want to keep, pouring adulation on us, that's fine. We've got at least one more segment to fill. So I'm waiting for the producer text to come in to say, keep it moving, guys.
So, who do you think we should invite for future podcasts? Who are some people that'd be good on this?
Good question. Do we want to name names? Do you like
yeah,
put some names over right now?
Yeah, influence.
Yeah, I mean, I like folks who are, just have really, they've got good opinions, but they also are out there just, creating output. So,
getting done.
Yeah. So, we talked about Raghav, Philippe, Simsy, guys always got thoughtful, dialogue on a whole variety of topics. It just sort of reminded, I'll call them about one thing and we'll talk for 45 minutes and just go off on, all these other threads. An interesting sort of Insurtech story, Mike, is like our pal Ray Lynch,
Oh yeah, Ray, man. Yeah, Cottery.
Cottery from Carrier to Cottery. That you can name the podcast that episode, From Carrier to Cottery.
Yeah.
Ray Lynch
I was
saga.
bringing them up earlier because it's interesting what they're doing with Cottery in that space. It's they're going to do well, man. They already are, but they're going to crush it. It's cool stuff.
Yeah. Indeed. I don't know.
Yeah, Ray's a good one. You know what's interesting to me? I think about Ray. That gets me thinking about Bobby Calise and Becky Monfrey and the team at Grange.
That should be your next. That should be your next three.
Totally
two pair. Get Becky and Bobby on Reid for a podcast.
Oh, they'd be great. Invite us back for that one. That'll be fun. The reason I bring them up is because they're folks that are in a very traditional carrier environment who are advocating for change and advocating for a lot of this new technology. And they've got a different perspective in terms of what it takes to make this stuff happen for real at an insurance carrier scale, which is, it's not my story, but I'm sure that's not easy.
Yeah, I know Bobby personally, and she's making moves, man, in a lot of ways.
Totally. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Try,
what are you gonna say, Alan?
Another like a wild card is someone from the Insurtech media world who has she sort of everyone shares their Insurtech secrets. Is Jennifer Overholtz, St. Nick Media. She's every panel, writes all the syllabuses almost for every conference, does work across, like she knows, she's everyone unburdens themselves to Jennifer, like in terms of like what's going on in the marketplace. I mean, am I wrong? Like,
you're not wrong at all. She's done PR for us for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Real great industry credibility, experience, network. She's awesome.
Yeah. She's like the media specialist to Insurtechs, publicist to the Insurtechs, celebrity Insurtechs, maybe, right? I don't know.
That's great.
She'll probably text me after she hears this podcast. Like, stop throwing my name around, but who knows?
So, next question. I'm going to start with you, Allan. What do you do for fun? And now, Mike, I'm starting with Allan. You can't say stuff with the kids and the family because this is personally like just you. And because everybody says that. Look, I got kids, family, the whole nine, right? What do you do for fun? All right, go ahead, Allan.
For me, it's it's like skydiving, all the risky adventure sports. I'm just kidding. No, I don't. I surf. I've gotten back into surfing a little bit. Tried to. Hadn't done it in years. I was never great, and 15 years later, I'm like I've regressed. But I think with the past year, everything I've been doing is just to get outside more, particularly because in New England, you got that. You got that not like you guys get in the Midwest, but you get that window of good weather. You just want to take advantage of it. So it's any activity, sports or otherwise, working out where I'm not thinking about like work, like it's like requires. And for me, that's how I reset. And that's what I like, getting outside and outdoor activities in New England.
Mike, how about you, man?
I like doing stuff with my family.
I'm sorry. It's like everybody all the time, and they're always like, "Oh, my kids, my wife, and and I get it. Like, look, we all do that, but like, what do you do?
I get it. Hey, man, it was a joke. I like working outside. So working on the house, working in my yard. I've got a big lot. I did a project last year where I rented a skid steer for a month, a track skid steer, and I did a bunch of grade work. I just playing around with like bulldozers and stuff, like just being the 4-year-old me is what's up.
No, he's got he'll rent Tonka toys,
dude. They're awesome.
And do heavy duty construction projects at his house.
They're awesome.
It's like there'll be a couple of big cats out there in the driveway. It's great.
That's awesome. All right, last question.
Yeah.
What do you like to drink, Allan? What's your jam?
Are we in Dr. Pepper territory or more serious stuff?
We're talking about alcohol.
Beverages, okay.
Foods, whatever you want to call it.
Beverages.
Alcoholic beverages.
I'm usually a light beer guy, but if I'm not a light beer guy in the summer, like a good mojito or Greyhound.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Mike, and you go to Mike's house for the Greyhounds.
Yeah, no. So that's the pro tip on the Greyhounds is go to Stop and Shop or whatever your grocery store chain is. Get the crappy bag of grapefruits because a lot of times if you juice them, they're there's a lot there and they don't cost very much. Get those and do the fresh squeezed grapefruit juice for your Greyhounds. Fresh squeeze with some good vodka, Tito's or Grey Goose or something. That's what's up.
Nice.
How about
nice.
you? What are you going for, Reid?
Man, I like a lot of different things for a lot of different occasions. I would say Greyhound's my top 5, though. But it's funny because I seem to forget it. It depends on what I'm doing.
It's a summer drink.
One of my it's a great summer drink. Probably my favorite. If I'm going to go to a nice restaurant, my go-to would be a really good Hendrix, I don't care what anybody says, dirty martini. Not super dirty, just dirty, done right. Blue cheese olives. That's a great freaking cocktail, man. I like that. I do like I said, I like the Greyhound. Good glass of wine with a good meal is great. And then beers, I'm an IPA guy. for sure. I definitely like the IPAs. But there was a long time where I only drank beer. I didn't actually drink any alcohol. I just wasn't into it. I just really liked beer. But yeah. And then if I go to a dive bar, a crappy bar, it's like you got to have your kind of crappy drink. If I don't want to drink beer, Jack and Coke all day long.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Everybody can make it Jack and Coke.
Dude, speaking
of
of Ray Lynch, he got me onto Ranch Waters down in Austin, Texas, which is Topo Chico and tequila. Kind of a cousin of a margarita.
Oh.
Dude, put a Ranch Water on your list. You get it in Texas if you can. If that's not
hydrate with Gatorade beforehand.
Dude, that was a long night. Yeah, no doubt.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. I want to thank you for joining. A lot of great stuff for the listeners. And stay tuned, everyone, for more fun to come with Mike and Allan. The Mike and Allan Show at Ivan's Innovation. More fun to come for the industry. But no, in all seriousness, guys, awesome job, awesome company. You guys have been in business for a long time. You've done a lot of great things for the industry in a lot of ways. And you should really pat yourselves on the back for that. Sometimes it's hard to see that you have affected real change in the industry in a positive way with a new Insurtech startup company, right? Which is very rare. So congrats, guys. Congrats on the acquisition and congrats on the future, because we're going to do some really cool shit together, and we're all really excited about it. So awesome shit for sure.
Oh, thank you. I mean, thank you for those words. It's a lot. Appreciate that.
All right. That's it. Till next time.
Hit my music.